Alright, there's our sharks all done. Nice and shiny. So they're going to go have the mouths painted somewhere else. Touch up the teeth. All that good stuff. So, let me go out here and take care of this before I have a problem. I didn't realize that there was a radio on, so there we go. So, we had a hot topic today with the paint stuff. You know, a lot of guys asking questions about their fans and stuff, and I watched Musty's video, and yeah, Darren, you might want to check on your motor that you use for that fan. I noticed when you showed it, when you had that plastic lid lifted up, I saw that the back of the motor was exposed. That would be my only concern with the setup that you got on your fan. You might trap vapors under that little shield you have for your motor. Most motors for fans, paint fans, are usually sealed like this, so you don't have a spark issue on ignition or while they're running. Sometimes you can get a spark there on the, in the brush area. So somebody else mentioned the compressor being an ignition point, and it's a very good observation. That's the whole idea of not having vapors where your compressor's at. Everybody wants me to move mine outside because of the noise. And that was one of the dangers of painting in here, before we did this. So if I'm doing a little fender or something and I can pull the air out, now we're going to try to do everything in there where it contains the overspray. But the one guy that commented on my video was exactly right. This motor's open. You can see the brushes, you can see the, everything in there. And it's turned on now, but I could let the air out and you'll see it spark when it turns on. So theoretically, if the fumes were thickened up over here and it surrounded this motor, that could be an ignition point. So that's something to think about. Hey JC, that vacuum cleaner, that's the fresh air system. It's a Clayton 4-stage pump, and it just pulls air from the wherever you set it. It's got a HEPA filter in the back of it, and that's that noise you heard. I wasn't really vacuuming anything. So yeah, it's the sharks, that's that. And I got to do this because Matt made me do this. So how's it going, Cecil? I told you Matt was an instigator, Cecil. So anyway, I give everybody a little chuckle there. Mainly just, it's a lot of common sense. I'm sure you guys are going to be more careful now. I know I will. I don't know. I saw Jeff's response to one of my videos, and he said when he watched Ray's video that he had a bad feeling, and I had the same feeling, man. I got sick to my stomach. I would never want to think that something I taught you guys would hurt you or harm you in any way. And I know sometimes we get careless, and I do things haphazard, and I got to stop that for sure. Because if we don't set the example, then you guys do the same thing, and man, it only takes one time if you're sensitive to it. So I'm not sensitive to isocyanates. I have customers that run body shops that can't have high solid, anything. They can't have anything with a hardener in it. They're lacquer, and they work strictly in the body part of the body business, and they do everything in lacquer primer at this one particular shop. And man, it's really old technology, but that's all the guy can spray. If he uses a 2K primer, it'll kill him. So people can become very sensitive to isocyanates, and yeah, we got a lot of good responses on that video, and I think, you know, we should take all of them, you know, and really think about what we're doing, look around in our shops, you know, make sure, you know, you're going to use a mass type filter, make sure it's in, some guy said a Tupperware. That's a really good idea, you know, put it in a Tupperware, bleed the air out of it. That's much better than a bag. A lot of guys will put them in the bag and put the bag in the mask in the Tupperware and pull the air out, you know. However you want to do it, you know, as long as you're making an effort, and definitely keep up with the time that you have that, because now I don't know about the Matt uses a mask that has a, you know, cartridge that you can change. I don't have a 3M mask here. I thought we had one on the shelf. I ordered one the other day, and I don't know, we sold it or it's just missing around here somewhere, but you can't change the filters on a 3M mask. It's basically just a disposable mask, and a lot of shops here in Florida want to give you that when you go to work there. You know, they don't provide a fresh air system. So I know you guys up north, the equipment's a lot better, the workplaces are a lot cleaner, and they don't call it the dirty South for no reason, you know. And so anyway, yeah, the Derek 1966, been checking his channel out. Come on. Come on. Alright, cat was hungry. So anyway, Derek, I've been watching your channel, the Derek 1966. He's got some cool stuff, got a nice shop. So, you know, people start watching your channel, man. Don't worry, you just started making videos, and you got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool projects. And you know, you're doing it basically the same way I did it before. I had a room to spray in, and the only problem with that is if you get a cloud, you know, that's where the problem comes, you know, with fluorescent lights and compressor kicking on and off. Even if you have a place to go and you have that big cloud there, you know, that might be something that you know, use the attic fan to pull some of it out of the top of the building. Anytime you use any kind of electric motor, though, you want to make sure that it's not a exposed motor like that compressor that I just showed you. You want it to be sealed, like the fan back there in that room. That's why Musty, that's why that fan that you had, that you got out of the paint booth, they put the motor outside of the actual flume where the fan's at and run it with a belt, so there's no chance of being exposed to spark. So you know, you just got to be careful having the electric motor that close to your outlet. You know, if you get a big vapor coming out of that outlet and it gets trapped up under that container, and that could be an issue. But I'm sure other guys are going to make videos, you know, and we'll probably, you know, touch on this for a little while, and there's nothing wrong with that. Lacquer thinner, that was a big question. A lot of guys want to know about lacquer thinner. You know, Jeff can back me up on this. You can talk to his paint reps, you know. I've been told that lacquer thinner is the fastest thing into your bloodstream. So it's the thing we probably are the most careless with. You know, we wash our guns with it, we stick our hands in it, but from what I understand, it enters your bloodstream within a half a second of contact with your skin. So a half a second isn't very long. It's hard to believe that your skin can absorb, you know, a chemical that quick, but that's what the experts say. So Musty asked about gloves. I know Tommy Shoe got those Black Mamba gloves. He doesn't like them. I buy the cheap gloves. Just go to, you know, like Harbor Freight, and you get the cheap powder gloves. You got to be careful when you paint with those, you know, but they're gonna wrinkle up with the thinner, but you know, they'll last long enough for you to do what you need to do. Now you can look on the back of the package, and some of them will list, you know, they're thinner sensitive. depending on how thick you like them. You know, it's basically personal preference on a glove, but definitely a good idea, you know, to wear gloves so you don't come into contact with the chemicals. And also, you know, when you're priming and working on your car, it keeps the oil from your skin off the car. So, you know, it benefits your project and your health. So I guess, you know, I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know that I guess we're going to change things the way we do things here anyway. You know, I have to apologize for the way that I've been making videos and, you know, not wearing the fresh air system, not wearing the suit. I mean, I know better. And by me not wearing that stuff, you know, it makes you guys think that you can get away with it. And that's not the case. So, you know, you're going to have to spend a little money, man, you know, a few dollars. Go to your local paint store, go to Harbor Freight. They sell paint suits, you know. Get you some paint suit, get you some shirts. Paint suits are better because the material sometimes lets the chemicals go through the fiber of the cotton. So, you know. Another friend of mine who commented on my page, Fast VW1 JC, he's been in the body shop business for a long time. And you know, he even commented, he very rarely comments on my videos, and he thought it was important enough to comment on the fresh air system. And he's very knowledgeable on that kind of stuff, and maybe he'll comment, make a video on it. I know he's up on the EPA stuff, the requirements, the safety goggles, everything you need when you hire a person to be safe. And it's just never been a topic on YouTube, and I think it should be now for sure, that we were aware of the issue and, you know, what we're spraying. And another guy said that that's why it costs so much to get a car painted, you know. And you know, you're probably right. You know, when you do a cheap job, you're just cheating yourself, because, you know, you're taking a risk every time you spray the stuff, and it's you know, it's a deadly chemical. And there should be some hazardous pay for that. You know, that's one of the reasons I never understood why a painter gets paid less than an auto mechanic. I mean, there's a lot of school and a lot of technology in mechanic field. I mean, I don't want to get the mechanics pissed off, but I mean, from a hazardous aspect, you know, the painter is much more exposed to deadly chemicals and takes a risk every day at work. So I don't understand how that works, but that's how that works. So you just have to take the initiative yourself to, you know, make the workplace a little better place. I've been lucky to work in places that haven't been too bad. And when I made the transition from the mom and pops to the dealerships, that's when the equipment got better. Dealerships don't want to have any liability, so they make sure they have all the proper equipment in place. We had fresh air systems, air conditioned suits, you know, paint mixing rooms with ventilation. All that stuff that a dealership has is actually stuff that OSHA requires. All the other shops that don't have that are just sliding by. That's not just exaggeration. You can pick the book up, you know, and see what OSHA requires, and none of those masks that you wear on your face that expose your eyes are legal. You have to have an air supply from outside of the booth to be OSHA legal. I don't know where the, you know, shop owners think that those disposable masks are, you know, getting them by, but when somebody gets sick, you know, that'll come up. That'll be the first thing. And if you don't believe me, check into it. I found out about it at a class I went to that I wasn't supposed to go to. We had a mix-up at a dealership I worked at. It was a small dealership, and it was supposed to be for the manager to go to. And, you know, he sent me to this thing thinking it was a paint class, and it was all the rules on EPA stuff. Paint cans. It's another thing I wanted to touch on, because I've seen a couple guys, you know, that I watch and like. If you have a paint can in your shop or, you know, place that you're doing business and it doesn't have a label on it, it's $10,000 fine per can. So you can check that out too. has to have a label on it, so it has the emergency information on it. I worked at a dealership that got closed down. They came in and we had some, we had a mixing system. And it was when I first started painting, actually. I was a helper. And it was a Lincoln Mercury dealership. And EPA came in. We had a bunch of cans in the paint shop that weren't labeled, just cans in the cabinet. And it was 10,000 per can. I think there was like 50 cans with no labels. And back then it was lacquer primer days, and back in the lacquer primer days, the bodyman used to give the painter the car and primer. You'd get it blocked in 220. And this particular shop I worked at had a grate system that would go right through the middle of the shop, and the bodyman would actually wet sand their work. Times have changed, and so have the primers, but they lay that Condor, PPG Condor primer down, block that stuff with 220, wash the floor down into the grate, and the grate would go back to the retention pond, dump into the retention pond. And I mean, we never paid attention to it. We'd catch fish out of that thing, and well, the EPA sampled the soil on the bottom of the pond, and it had a lot of chromates and stuff from the lacquer primer, and all the stuff that they'd been sanding off the cars had been going down the grate out into the retention pond. So they got them for 50 cans with no labels, and then they closed the dealership for a month and a half. Dug the retention pond up, put all the dirt in 55-gallon drums, and once you get those EPA drums, you're responsible for life. They tag them, and wherever they go in storage, you have to pay the cost to maintain the barrel. So they have to change the drum out, or it becomes an issue, you're liable. So that's a fun little fact for you. And some of my friends that watch this channel will know about a little incident. I had a shop with a guy, and this is a true story. I was doing body work out of this place, and he was doing mechanical work, and I came in to work one morning, and he's like, "Hey, you need gas in your car?" And I'm like, "No, it just filled up." And that's all he said. And he was doing a fuel pump on a customer's car that he was working on, and I was doing some stuff in the office, hanging out, and I'm sitting in there, and I see this guy ride by, and the next thing I know, I see all these fire trucks roll up. I see the police roll up, and they come knocking on our door, and apparently my buddy had taken the gas and dumped it down the storm drain in the parking lot. Well, the storm drain goes to the retention pond. The retention pond was behind our warehouse, and there was a tow company behind us, and the guy smelled the gas, and he came over and put one and one together, and my buddy's still paying for that. They had to cover the whole retention pond with little pillows, it's like sponges that floated on top of the water. Sucked all the gas up into these sponges, and then they put these sponges into the 55-gallon drum. The EPA guy with the suit comes out, they pick them all out of the pond there. They test the water for 3 or 4 months. They padlocked the shop. They let me get my stuff out of there. They were nice to me. They let me get my toolbox out of there. They let me get my paint stuff out. I was able to get my race car out of there. And that was it. I lost everything else as far as like welders, shop equipment, anything that we'd gone in halves on. So that's another true story. So you gotta be careful when you do stupid stuff. And like I said, you gotta be your own police when you're in your garage. When you work for somebody, they police you. When you do it at your own house, you can get yourself in trouble real quick. And that's how my uncle died, from lacquer thinner. Got in his skin, killed his liver, and couldn't do nothing for him. He was gone. Died in a week. He was working at some little used car lot, doing stuff on the side, and they came in and found him on the ground in there, and so I definitely should know better. And after my uncle died, I think I even got more careless, because I felt sort of guilty. So I got to stop being careless, and so does everybody else that watches my channel, because becomes personal. So I just thought I'd share that with you. So if you guys got any more questions, just keep them coming. I'll answer them as the best I can. And I'm sure there's going to be other guys making videos, because that's what the YouTube garage is all about. So hopefully tomorrow we can go back to normal. I've heard my stepdad's doing a lot better. He said he's taking a turn for the better, so that's good. So, you can say it's coincidence, or you can say there might be something to that power to the prayer. And you guys say you're praying, and I believe you're praying, and maybe that's all it takes, guys.